The S&P market had a bump in the road on Friday last week, but we still think that the trend is up until the end of the year at least. Today is October 12th, and we have been emphasizing the bullishness of this market, and what came in was a sharp decline for one day, which could be perceived of as the beginning of some sort of a major down move. However, investigating the cycles that we usually look at, we look at about 40 of them. One of them that I hadn't looked at in about 3 weeks is the 18.6-year cycle. And you can see in this picture an overlay of what happened in the past 18.6 years, and they were almost identical, and what happened in our market now. And so what's also interesting is the price of the S&P was approximately 6,800, and that event was 6,802 days ago. In other words, it's a Gann principle at time and price from the state of balance. So there's actually a clue that gave us a hint as to which cycle was there that I had not revisited in a few weeks. And basically, now that we see that, we also know that the probabilities of that being continuing on higher is quite high, because that's what happened back then. February 27th of 2007 lined up with Friday the 10th of October 2025. And then that market goes down a little bit further. It stays down probably until the equivalent of the 27th of October, and then resumes on its merry way up, as we anticipated, till year end or even later. Okay? So the big story has not really changed. This bump in the road at that time had a 6.6% decline. We did 4% from the high to the low on the futures on Friday. If we do 6.6%, it would indicate 63.95 as a potential target. However, what's interesting is we have very strong support at 64.20 based upon our matrix channel lines, and we have another strong support at 6,400. So there is a lot of support around the 6,400 level that should hold the market. If it breaks below that significantly, then there's not any dramatic support until you get to around 61.50, okay? But at the moment, we don't think it's going to go that low. Now, if the thing repeats exactly, which may or may not happen, there's potential low on the 16th and a high on the 22nd of October and another low on the 27th of October, which back then was the lowest low, after which we start working higher into early November. There's another pullback around the 12th or 13th of November on the way up, and then continues higher and higher and higher until much later in the year.